Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Seven Figure Network podcast. I'm so happy you're here today because today I've got Dan Doyle. Dan has been in the game for a while. He's a fellow competitive athlete. So I love speaking to other folks who've really earned high levels in athleticism and in business because the two are very comparable. And even if you haven't been an athlete in the past, you're going to learn some stuff from today from Dan that has driven him to success. And a couple of these little gold nuggets might be able to get you there as well. So Dan, thanks so much for being on the show. I'm really glad to see you here today.
My pleasure, Matt. I can't wipe the smile off my face because we just had a great laugh. We get on so well, and it's led into the start of the program. So yeah, thanks for having us, mate. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, bud. Yeah, it's so much fun doing these when I've got a friend on the other side, and we don't even know each other. We've only met twice, but we're just such fast friends that these are the interviews that I love the most because not only can we just have fun together, but we're going to dig deep. We're not afraid to ask each other the hard questions because we know it's going to help out. So let me start right from scratch here. What drove you into this industry in the first place? You've been in here for a long time. Again, you've had great success in both business and athletics. What made you decide that network marketing was something you really wanted to chase full on?
Well, I don't recommend that people go through what I went through to get to where I am, for sure. I wasn't looking for this industry. A product found me. My background is in traditional business. I came from corporate, working for one of the big four banks back in Australia, to building and selling traditional businesses, starting in the health and fitness industry. And then unexpectedly, I started building and selling businesses in all different industries, in the security industry, hospitality industry, the construction industry, and became very, very good at doing this. I mean, which was sort of bizarre because I dropped out of school and my father wanted me to do the best I could, obviously, in education and put me through private schools and to have a better job than him. Yeah. So him thinking with me dropping out, I was going to be a failure. So I had to prove to him that I could be successful in life. So that was one of the things that really drove me. And I was very successful in traditional business, built these 20 incredible businesses over 20 years. And as I was building them, sold them and started building from inception again. And it was a great journey, great walk. I never had a trainer, teacher, mentor, anybody to help me through that. If I knew they were sort of available at that time or somebody was out there that could help me. I never thought of that, or nobody put their hand out or did anything to help me in regards. So I was self-taught in traditional business. Had a great life, very physically fit and healthy. As you know, I was an athlete, playing many sports, rugby, judo, gymnastics, aerobics, surfing. Finally got into bodybuilding, which was the love of my life and passion for many, many years. Started picking up weights at the age of 13. Arnold Schwarzenegger was somebody that I followed through his path in life, and that inspired and motivated me too, not just in bodybuilding, but traditional business as well. So I got to, I had a really good time through building traditional businesses. We went into flipping properties, very successful at that. My health was brought unstuck by using a horrendous weed killer, which is out there, which a lot of people do know about. Lost my health. Not overnight, took several years, but people think they do lose their health overnight. So I sort of moved from working with doctors for a lot of years on what I was going through physically to finding out that I really had to help myself after what they could, or real more to the point, couldn't do for me. And moved to what I didn't believe in, which was alternative functional natural medicine. And did many things to try and help myself for a couple of years with an alkaline diet. And this is where a lot of people were coming to me with network marketing products. And it was very, very hard for me to purchase products from them because I was the guy that didn't believe in the industry whatsoever. So if you came to me 10 years ago with Amway this way or that way, I would have definitely run the other way. And I'm not bringing up Amway because I wanted to pick on them, but it just rhymed with everything else. It's a great rhyme. So I tried a lot of things. There are a lot of things that I tried that unfortunately didn't work for me, that people recommended. My alkaline diet didn't work. So after many, many years, I was still in trouble with my health. A friend of mine reached out with a particular product, started on this product and substantially turned around my health just in a short few days. So it was really the product that got me into the network marketing industry, selfishly for my own sake, for my health. But obviously, after I started getting results on the product, you can't help but to talk to people. And I think the biggest regret that I've got really would be waiting 5 months before I started sharing this with others. So what I have learned is that this industry, particularly if you've got a good product, a unique product, something that people want, something that they need, it's the best business model that I've ever come across. And I've been in a lot of other business models, traditional business and whatnot. So yeah, it was only a fact that I lost my health and a byproduct of losing my health that got me into the industry. And I was only talking to somebody today, and I'm thinking to myself, if I was still in traditional business, which I would have been if I didn't lose my health, I wonder where I would be these days, because maybe it wouldn't have worked out because of what's happening around the world at the moment. So I probably would have been in a lot of trouble financially, whereas, we did lose everything financially when I lost my health, but it was this business model and my passion, my determination and perseverance and, just what I know that the opportunity could do for people that really got me moving in this industry.
Now, you've made a very good point in that your quote unquote regular businesses, you're not really sure where they'd be right now because of these last couple of years. Speaking specifically about the network industry, marketing industry, we know that, some people have done this. It's just been unbelievably crazy growth over the last couple of years. Some folks really hit a plateau. Other folks drop like a rock. So can you tell me a secret or two of what you've done during lockdown to keep that growth moving and keep moving forward in this specific industry? Because we know that your other industry probably would have, I don't want to say failed, but certainly suffered. This industry specifically, what's been your secret over lockdown to keep everything moving, not just for yourself, but for your team as well?
Yeah. Traditional business could have worst case scenario failed for sure. You know what? Big transition. Obviously, we had to evolve and pivot with what's happened in the last 2 years. You can just imagine, and you have come from building these types of businesses. So we were out there doing the belly to belly and physical meetings and presentations and events with people, which is all fun and great. And that's, social interaction, and people end up believing in what we've got because of that social interaction. Mm-hmm. But we've had to move to do virtual coffees, get on Zooms and doing this type of business building activity, which it was the most difficult thing initially was training people like in Asia who are used to and only do business face to face.
Yes.
To do business through Zoom. So that was probably our biggest challenge because we had big teams in Asia. Mm-hmm. So moving people to Zoom, doing a lot of training on Zoom, how to present on Zoom, how to do anything on Zoom was the biggest thing that we had to do. The biggest thing I failed in was, I suppose, recognizing that Zoom at the beginning of the pandemic was going to be huge, and I didn't get any shares in it. But
Same. If we only knew, brother.
I know, you just didn't think about it. But we had to pivot. We had to really change things. And, I believe that, we had a bit of a dip in the last 2 years, but that has come back with a vengeance. I mean, positive vengeance. I mean, I believe with what we're going through now, that our business model is going to help more people than, we're not talking about investments in cryptocurrencies or anything like that. We're talking about building cash flow, building an income. We're in the most phenomenal place in history in network marketing at the moment, I believe. So this is our time for sure. And with the pandemic, it's just magnified the opportunity as far as I'm concerned. This is definitely the perfect storm in our industry. Yeah. So anybody who's got a good product or service, doesn't matter what it is. Obviously it comes back to you. It's something that we do in this industry. We don't sell what we have. We sell ourselves and our stories. Is to get out there with our passion and excitement without selling, what we have to people and just sharing.
So that right product the right mentality, and then having the right system in place, because like you said, you had to pivot.
Yeah. No, I mean, the thing is, with have a right system in place, and I know a lot of people become conference call tourists, and that's all they do in their lives. They don't tend to build their business. They're just on calls all the time. Mm-hmm. But if they get on the right calls, like a podcast like this, and get some great information that's going to help them keep their business, building their business simple, a simple system, with plugging people into enough information to keep them moving and not getting to that analysis paralysis, which people do. And, people all of a sudden in 12 months' time are still at the same spot they are today. Mm-hmm. That's key. Yeah, just don't confuse people. Nice, simple, basic system. Mm-hmm. And the other important thing is support. Become that servant leader. Never say no to your team. And duplicate these basic things and basic principles of the things that we need to do when building a business like this.
Mm-hmm. What would you say? So we just talked about growth. Now let's go to the flip side of the coin. Let's talk about retention. What would you say have been your keys to retention? And I don't mean just over the last couple of years, because you've been doing this for a really long time. So I'd love to get, a couple, 2-3 tips out of you if that's what you have. But keys to retention, and again, thinking about before when things were normal, quote unquote, when we could sort of run this industry any way we wanted and be successful, compared to, the last couple of years where everything really had to change and be done in a very finite way. What have you been able to do, again, personally, and what you've trickled down to your team to keep that retention in place, to make it so people aren't, just coming in, under a huge promise. Next thing you know, they have their first little roadblock and they're out of here. How are you stopping them from jumping ship after that first little blip?
So that's a great question. So, I mean, what is the most important thing in any business, regardless of the business model? It is retention of your customers, for sure. If I go back, though, people ask me what I did to get the business really moving. And obviously, we've got to get people on board before we can retain them. I not only got into my contacts, regardless of who they were, but I never depended on anybody to build their business themselves. So I tapped into my team's contacts very, very fast, extracted that 10 to 20 most influential list that they've got. And I had that list, and I used those to fill in my gaps with my downtimes and the white spots in my calendar. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. So I utilize that. And would you believe I built somebody to a diamond business without them absolutely doing anything at all, just with their contacts?
You hear stories about it.
Sure. So in regards to retention, customer experience is so important. Mm-hmm. It's key. And, I don't want to say, well, here, Mel, here's our product. Here's it, you bought a heap of it. Hopefully it does this and this, this and this. Good luck. See you later. All of the best. Yeah. You just can't do that. Mm-hmm. So the most important thing as far as customer retention is supporting that person regardless of what they want to do with the opportunity, whether it's the product for their health, whether it's the opportunity to build a business. You need to give them a chance to be there to support them. Obviously, in our industry, we say we run with the runners, we jog with the joggers, and we walk with the walkers. You can find out who they are when they get involved in what we're doing. Literally give them 3 months. Mm-hmm. What I mean by that is, if somebody is on a product plan because they want to improve their health, they've got health goals, or if they actually want to build the business, mm-hmm. I make sure that the team, and it's a simple sort of equation, reaches out to that person every single day for the first week, mm-hmm. every second day in the second week, every third day in the third week, and at least once a week moving forward. And you want to guide them and support them for that first 3 months to recognize the wins that they're getting on the product, the product experience. Mm-hmm. Or, as you know, something is very important, try and get them to earn commissions if they're building business in the first 2 weeks. Yes. Shortest time possible. Mm-hmm. So I work with my team very fast if they're building the business. So we want to sort of, whatever the compensation plan or structure is, binary qualify them, get them to earn a check in their next week, mm-hmm. or help somebody to recognize a win on the product experience as quickly as possible. Yeah, for sure.
The follow-up philosophy you have of, calling every day, then calling every other day, do you use some sort of software or mechanism to control that? You an old school pen and paper guy? How are you getting your folks? What are you teaching your folks as far as technology, if they are using technology, to keep up with that follow-up strategy that seems really powerful?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm the most technically challenged person on the planet.
I have a pen in my hand right now.
I've actually got two of these. Not one, but two planners. And you know what's surprising about that? And not saying that the electronic side doesn't work, and however you keep your data, or you do your follow-ups, or whether it's a CRM or whatever it is. In our business anyway, the most successful people in our business literally have got planners, Post-it notes, and whiteboards. So,
old school.
For me, I love to walk into my office, and I love to see around a room my whiteboards and Post-it notes and planners. So everything's there. I know exactly what to do, who's where, what I need to do, what's what, and I just go for it. Not that I haven't got the day planned, but visually seeing it like that for me makes a lot of difference.
Yeah.
So, and I suppose I go back to, these people that do build the business like that, call them old school, call me old school. We're the ones that are keeping things simple as well. So I'm finding the people that are really doing too much training or getting people bogged down, their business just is not moving like other people in this business, for sure.
It doesn't seem duplicatable. If you're overcomplicating the situation, you take the duplication aspect out of it, and then you can't possibly win. Nobody wins if there's no duplicatable process.
No, not at all. We're dealing with different cultures and nationalities and people with different religions and the beliefs and values, and it's just you've got to really blend in and mold to, I suppose, what they sort of are asking for or require, or what their needs are to build a business like this. So, and I'll give you an example. There's a particular the Polynesian community. It's just exploding within our business, and the training side just doesn't gel with them. They just like to bring people on board and enroll hundreds and hundreds of it. So we do whatever works for, as I said, that particular culture or nationality. And for me, it's always been, and I've done this in traditional business too. Have a plan, have a strategy. Obviously, it's important, but keep it basic. I think one of the most important things that I've learned through traditional business and now through network marketing is, and we had this discussion earlier on, this is all about you. This is all about people listening to this podcast. This is all about you benefiting from hopefully getting a few gold nuggets here, a few takeaways that can help you to build your business, regardless of what business model that is. So for me, my team's goals are my goals. I want them to help them achieve whatever they want to achieve. Not just because I've got to the point or to the level within my business, but that's always how it's been. If I go back to traditional business, I had one company that had over 1,000 staff.
Wow.
And I knew not only every single one of them, I knew their families, I knew their personal situations, I knew their financial situations. And because of that, and because I could talk to them and help them at that level, I got the best productivity. They turned up for work, they were on time, and they did a great job.
Yeah. Do you think that that's from your sports background? I know we were going to talk about this a little bit, and I guarantee that the fact that you've become such a great leader has to have something to do with your sports background. Tell me a little bit about your deep love for athleticism and what you think is actually transferred over to the network marketing industry from that.
Yeah, it just comes down to one word that we do get from what we go through in sports as an athlete, and that's discipline. And I suppose, if you look at traditional business that I've been through, but also, lifting weights, work ethic.
Yeah.
If you're not putting in the work, you're not getting the results. Those biceps aren't growing. Those pecs aren't growing. You're not achieving what you want to achieve physically or through that business. Yeah. So discipline and work ethic, definitely big part of coming from being an athlete. And I'm going to be honest with you, I believe it's a bit of an advantage that we've got when it comes to drive and focus, and eventually, because of, as I say, persistence will get you there, consistency will keep you there.
Yes.
Success, which leads to success. So I think, even if you're not an athlete, if you haven't been an athlete, if you haven't owned your traditional business, just bring in that work ethic, bring in that discipline, and make sure that you're persistent in what you're doing. And then once you get to where you need to go, be consistent.
It's funny because Conchetta and I actually joke about this fairly often. Something that you said just really made this pop in my head. The big guys in the gym are always friends with all the other, and I'm 265 pounds. I'm a big guy. All the big guys are always friends with each other because we all know how hard we worked. It's like she always feels bad because, you've got these beautiful cardio girls and they never talk to each other. There's this weird thing that they, always have this strange, beautiful girl to beautiful girl competition going on. But the biggest, strongest guys in the gym are always the best buddies because we know how hard we worked. We have such respect for each other for the incredible amount of work we put in. And I think that transfers over to this. It's just like you said. It's so funny. Hey, I want to talk. Go ahead, please.
I'm sorry, mate. You got a wall behind you. I would have loved me and you to be two flies on a wall back in the Arnold Schwarzenegger and those guys, the Frank Zanes and all those guys. It would have just been absolutely amazing to see and hear what they went through.
Those were the good old days. I was lucky enough that my gym growing up in high school was owned by Mike Katz. So I got to, Mike was there every day. He was he wasn't Mr. Olympia. No, he was Mr. Olympia, Mr. World, so I got to see a lot of those guys growing up. So it was super cool to be surrounded by the big bodybuilders, back in the 70s and 80s. It was a different time, my brother.
He just had to work his legs a bit more. That's all.
Yeah. Hey, one thing I wanted to ask you about international expansion, because I know you talked about that a little bit, and we talked about Polynesia, the Polynesian growth curve. What have you seen in some of the other international companies? Because I know that, some folks that are listening right now have companies that are, only based in Australia, only based in Germany, only based in North America. I know you're lucky enough that you're in a company that's very internationally known and grown. So where have you seen the international market go over the last couple of years? Have you seen that go up? I mean, again, I know every country is going to be different, but I know that you dig really deeply into, the ethics of the area, the spirituality, their true beliefs. So where have you seen the international market change over these last couple of years?
Yeah, sort of one question leads into me thinking something else, and I'll lead into that. Just in regards to, all right, well, I'm thinking Asia straight away, obviously.
Yeah, please.
So I'll talk about that, but where was I going with this? I want to make sure that nobody gets the wrong impression, or end of the day, we're not talking about the company I'm involved in. When you're looking at getting involved in a company, there's a lot of things you need to check out. Obviously, for me personally, the thing that I teach to anybody, whether they, even if they're looking at something else, they're getting involved in something else, could be traditional business, could be anything at all, is I would never get involved in a company that's under 5 years old. We know that 98% of companies fail in that first 5 years, regardless of the business model. So that's the first thing I look at. The second thing I look at is the owners of the company. And then you look at the product, the service, and I want to make sure that I don't have too much competition. There's no use jumping into something where I've got a lot of competition. Amen. So obviously the compensation plan, I want to be paid well for what I do. I want to look at the executives and their background. And there's also, for me, the ethos of the company, their principles and values. So very, very important, not just to jump into something because of the excitement, the fanfare, the rah-rah, but definitely because, you're literally putting the most valuable asset or the most valuable thing that you could lose, which is your time, because that's the investment in what we do. So for me, when I'm looking at building a business, any business, traditional business now, network marketing, I do look at things from a global point of view. In our business, we're known as world travelers. We've been literally traveling for 6 years now straight. We haven't stopped traveling. And we do that for many reasons, building the business, but for a lot of fun as well. We seen a lot of places. As a matter of fact, we've been to about 50 countries over the last 6 years, and I can't count how many cities. It's just been absolutely amazing.
Holy cow.
So Asia was very exciting, obviously, when it came to, our business. And why in our industry? Because of their work ethic.
Yeah.
So I suppose if you come back to, looking at the business that you're involved in, okay, well, how many markets are you in? So you really need to have a look at how quickly a business expands, because, you want to make sure that a business is sustainable and it's going to last. So for us, we've expanded quite slowly, to be honest. We're in 33 markets in the last 12 years. And the reason for that is the company's very conscious about not doing anything that's detrimental to the company's growth or to the company. We don't want to go backwards. Yeah, and 12 years, year over year, thank goodness, we've actually increased in sales, even with the last 2 years. So all of these things, I look at things from a company point of view, I suppose, because I came from corporate, I came from running my own business. So my vision is the company's vision, their strategy, I run parallel with. Mm-hmm. And I make sure that I build this business so the company survives. If I'm building it to the company's survival, I'm building my own business anyway. My business will survive and grow. So Asia is a super exciting market. You can get somebody that comes on board in Asia, in Malaysia, in Hong Kong, in the Philippines, in Thailand, these are just some of the markets that we're in, mm-hmm. several markets, but there's so many incredible markets. There's South Korea, Japan. But if your company's moved into these markets, take advantage of actually building into these markets. Never depend on one or two markets, because to be honest with you, if something happens within your company, and I've got to look at it too, within ours, mm-hmm. and those countries or those markets fail for some reason, or there's problems, it's going to be, you really want to not have all your eggs in one basket within your own business. It's great that we've got the opportunity to build a global business. We're in 33 markets. Some companies are in 10, some companies are in 100. Right. So great that we can build a global business from literally the time we sign that dotted line, we open up an account, we become an associate, a member, a distributor, and which I see as being absolutely amazing and phenomenal. And then you've got the power of leverage. Mm-hmm. For me personally, bringing on 80 people in the last 7 years, turning into over 30,000 people in 33 countries just absolutely blows my mind. But that's the power of this business model. Yes. So mate, Asia is a very exciting market. Bringing on one person in Asia can literally turn your business around overnight. Wow. Yeah.
Wild. So now I want to talk about some of your goals, because you're moving forward, you're building a business and you're building a legacy. So I know people are listening, they're hearing your nuggets, they want to know what you got going on. So tell me, Dan, what are your 6-month goals for your company?
If I look back again, and I did set a goal, as you know, that I achieved a particular rank, and the next rank that I was going for, I set that goal for 12 months. So that was all the way back in 2017, wanted to achieve it in 2018. Didn't happen until the end of last year. Mm-hmm. But that's consistency, and that's grinding away, and that's not wasting. I always say, don't waste time with people that waste your time. Sounds terrible, but it's true. We can lead somebody to water, but we can't make them drink. Exactly. You don't want to be bashing on your sisters or your brother's door and trying to make them, get into your business or get on the product. Mm-hmm. Just move on. Just move on. So, incredible rank. I got personally to presidential diamond in our business, which is the second highest rank in our company, which is a great finish to 2021 after the year that we all had. But there's not really the bite-sized 6 months goals that I have. It's really aiming, obviously, one, to go as hard and fast as possible to get to the highest rank in our company. But I suppose I'm looking at beyond that, because I always say to people, if you're going for a particular rank, always go for the one higher than that. Yes. And then you won't be disappointed. You know what I mean? Always go for the bigger goals, because you'll land somewhere probably where you were initially thinking in the first place. Mm-hmm. So It's a big ask and it's a tall order, but my goal always has been, Mel, to get to the number one income earning distributor in literally the whole of network marketing.
Yeah, love it.
So
we're going to need more customers and we need more customers and more builders over this next 6 months, correct?
That's what it's always going to come down to. And, it's bringing them on, it's supporting them, and it's that important thing, customer retention that you're talking about, making sure that you can guide them and support them, keep them in your product or service for long enough that they're going to have the belief, or it goes from here to their heart, physically getting results as well, obviously, that they're going to stay with you literally, and it's with you.
Yes.
They're here for you for the rest of your life, for sure. Yeah.
Very, very well said. Okay, so now let's look at the other side of the coin. Let's talk about a 6-year goal. So 6 years from today, where do you want to be?
6 years from today. As I said, you always remind me to go back a little bit before I go forward. So for my wife and I, for Suzanne and I, our personal goals literally was to have a property in different regions in the world and spend time in those properties and just chase the sun for the rest of our lives.
Oh, beautiful.
Last year, thank God, we it came down to the work and effort we put in. As you know, the harder we work, the luckier we get. We purchased a property in Hawaii, so we've got a base for the Americas. We do settle on a property in Australia in the next few months, so we'll have a base over there, and then Europe will be the goal after that. So the pandemic slowed us down in regards to achieving all that, but that's coming to fruition now and coming to play. So that will definitely happen. Long term, 6 years. Yeah. Wow. I mean, it's funny you say that, because I haven't been in the business for too much longer than that. It's only been 7 years. That's like twice as long. And if you look at the number one in our company, she's sort of taken twice as long as me to get, anyway, into the sort of same levels as what I did. But, when you're looking at all these goals and what we want to achieve and our targets, it just comes down to our own efforts. So 6 years, wow. And I know it's going to fly. And I don't know what it's like for you or for the people listening to this, but these years, to be honest with you, seem like months now. They're just going so fast. I can't see myself being retired, because I've got this purpose-filled mission, and I know what we can do for individuals in so many ways. So I always said, Mel, I'll never leave anybody behind with what we do. So anybody that is coming on board, and that's people every day, I'm playing catch up, and I'm never going to leave anybody behind. So I just can't stop. So one way or another, I know I'm going to be still involved in the business and still building it actively and still sharing this with people. That's for sure. Whether my goal is achieved in 6 years of getting to number one globally, as far as the earner in all network marketing companies, I don't know. But as I said, I'm not going to stop, and I'll never stop after that fact anyway. Not out of greed. Literally just comes down to helping individuals. Yeah. So 6 years' time, I'll be 60. Big 60. And I suppose I'd be hoping to take a bit of a step back. We can't talk about how this industry can create passive or progressive passive income or anything like that, because it still comes down to us working it, which I'll continue to do. But financially now, and I know in 6 years' time we'll have nothing to worry about. I think in 6 years' time, and this has been progressing every year, we'll be moving more and more into spending a lot more time with humanitarian projects. And that's what we love doing. We love animals, helping animals, cleaning up our planet, making it a healthier place to live. So, we do put a lot of time and our what we earn into various things now. That's just going to happen in a much bigger way. But probably I'd be splitting up 50% of my time in doing various projects and 50% of the time with the business still. So, that's where we'll end up landing, I think, in about 6 years.
Yeah, I love it. It's funny when I talk to, because we're in our 50s, other folks were in their 60s. It seems like whenever I ask that 6-year question, it's all about legacy. It's all about, I've gotten here, I've gotten there, I've got the system in place that I know I'm going to keep building for the next 6 years. It won't be a problem. I'm going to affect so many more people, make so much more money for them, for me, for everybody else. But the legacy I'm going to leave behind seems to be so important. And, that's why we've always loved working with health professionals, because we know we leave a massive legacy when we deal with that audience and health, sort of products. So, Dan, thanks. Go ahead, please.
I was going to say, I've never, as successful as we were in traditional business, we still didn't have the money to help the people that we wanted to help, to do those projects, work with those charities and foundations.
Yeah.
We do now. We are now. It's going to be in a much, much bigger way. And, helping individuals to get to where they need to go, their goals, their targets, their dreams. And then individuals that unfortunately can't get involved with us, that we can help because we are financially set up. That's what turns me on.
Yeah. That's great, man. I love hearing it. It's, these are the stories that make me want to do this. These are the stories that make me love this. And again, I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. We don't call this the 7-Figure Network podcast because we're forcing you to want to have a 7-figure business. We just want you to surround yourselves with people like Dan, people who are 7-figure thinkers. For us, it was always doctors and health professionals. Put yourself in a 7-figure network that will give you the ability to build your own 7-figure team, but it's still your choice. You can do this how you want. You can leave the legacy you want. So Dan Doyle, thank you so much for being on today. We were friends anyway, so it was just, I knew it was going to be a fun day to talk to you, but bringing you on the 7-Figure Network podcast has been really important to me because you've seen success. You've seen it quicker than most. And again, I think one of the driving factors is your athleticism, the fact you've been competing in this so much. So I loved having you on, and the fact that I was able to challenge you to think about the way your 6-year goal is going to go really makes me happy because I know it's got your mind spinning. So Dan, thanks so much for being on. Before I let you go, I know that some folks, your contact information will be in the show notes, but some folks are just going to listen to this. So what is the best way for somebody to contact you today if they want to talk to you about what you've got going on or maybe work with you in the future?
Yeah, sure. So I've got a personal website, dandoyle.com, nice and easy, dandoyle.com, and email address, nice and easy again, dd@dandoyle.com.
Beautiful. Brilliant. So Dan, I'm going to have your bio and your contact information in the show notes below. But again, just in case, I wanted to make sure that anybody can get a hold of you. So Dan, thanks again for being on today. It was just fantastic. I love having friends on. You, I consider a friend, and this has just been perfect today. So Dan Doyle, thanks so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on, mate. Really appreciate it. Had a lot of fun.
Thank you, bud. Have a great day now.
You too. Bye, mate.
Hey there. I hope you really enjoyed the show. And now I have a question to ask. Do you want to know how to build a 7-figure network with just 3 to 5 enrollments a month? That's just 3 to 5 conversations, not 30 to 50. That means we only have to convince 3 to 5 people to say yes to build a real 7-figure network. Scan the code or click the link at the bottom of this page now to discover the step-by-step method for exactly how you can add hundreds, if not thousands of customers to your downline by recruiting and enrolling businesses and health professionals onto your team that have hundreds of built-in customers that need your product or opportunity. Get the 7-Figure Network book now, and let's start building massive volume with an enormous downline of businesses, health professionals, and customers.